Ask yourself: are you a citizen of Mexico, Central America, South America, Caribbean islands, Europe, Canada, Asia, Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, Brazil, China, Colombia, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, India, Nicaragua, Peru, Philippines, Ukraine, or Venezuela? If not, you must now ask yourself this: do I look like a citizen of those countries? Am I black? Am I white? Am I brown? Am I red? Am I yellow? Am I African or resembling an African? Am I European or resembling a Slav, Nordic or Caucasian? Am I Indian or resembling a reddish-brown Indian? Am I Asian or resemble an Asian? Am I Middle Eastern or resemble a Middle Eastern? If you resemble those ethnic races and you fail to raise an alarm during the last 5 years and you get stopped by ICE, detained, questioned for identification and released as a lawful resident of the USA, it's your own fault. In 2025, the color of your skin, the accent of your voice, the shape of your eyes and face, and even your hair are now reasonable articulable suspicion a crime has occurred to enact a law enforcement stop and detainment. For those of you who still adhere to your country of origin and speak a language other than English, and proudly display the flag of your country and may, or may not have burned the American flag. Did you believe that you could support illegal immigration and another country and live without consequences? Welcome to a society in America that's stuck on stupid, where racial profiling is now legal in all 50 states and U.S. territories. On September 8, 2025, the Supreme Court of the United States issued a stay allowing Immigration Customs Enforcement, or ICE, in case number 25A169. Christine Noem, Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, et al. Versus Pedro Bosques Perdomo, et al. On application for stay. The application for stay presented to Justice Kagan and by her referred to the court is granted. The July 11, 2025 order entered by the United States District Court for the Central District of California is stayed pending the disposition of the appeal in the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit and disposition of a petition for a writ of certiorari, if such a writ is timely sought. Should certiorari be denied, this stay shall terminate automatically. In the event certiorari is granted, the stay shall terminate upon the sending down of the judgment of this court. The Immigration and Nationality Act authorizes immigration officers to interrogate any alien or person believed to be an alien as to his right to be or to remain in the United States. Immigration officers may briefly detain an individual for questioning if they have a reasonable suspicion, based on specific articulable facts, that the person being questioned is an alien illegally in the United States. The reasonable suspicion inquiry turns on the totality of the particular circumstances. The government estimates that at least 15 million people are in the United States illegally. Many millions illegally entered or illegally overstayed just in the last few years. Illegal immigration is especially pronounced in the Los Angeles area, among other locales in the United States. About 10% of the people in the Los Angeles region are illegally in the United States, meaning about 2 million illegal immigrants out of a total population of 20 million. Not surprisingly, given those extraordinary numbers, U.S. immigration officers have prioritized immigration enforcement in the Los Angeles area. The government sometimes makes brief investigative stops to check the immigration status of those who gather in locations where people are hired for day jobs, who work or appear to work in jobs such as construction, landscaping, agriculture, or car washes that often do not require paperwork and are therefore attractive to illegal immigrants, and who do not speak much if any English. If the officers learn that the individual they stopped is a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, they promptly let the individual go. If the individual is illegally in the United States, the officers may arrest the individual and initiate the process for removal. Immigration stops based on reasonable suspicion of illegal presence have been an important component of U.S. immigration enforcement for decades, across several presidential administrations. In this case, however, the district court enjoined U.S. immigration officers from making investigative stops in the Los Angeles area when the stops are based on the following factors or combination of factors. 1. Presence at particular locations such as bus sites, car washes, pickup sites, agricultural sites, and the like, and 2. The type of work one does. 3. Speaking Spanish or speaking English with an accent, and 4. Apparent race or ethnicity. To be clear, apparent ethnicity alone cannot furnish reasonable suspicion. Under this court's case law regarding immigration stops, however, it can be a relevant factor when considered along with other salient factors. Under this court's precedents, not to mention common sense, those circumstances taken together can constitute at least reasonable suspicion of illegal presence in the United States. Importantly, reasonable suspicion means only that immigration officers may briefly stop the individual and inquire about immigration status. If the person is a U.S. citizen or otherwise lawfully in the United States, that individual will be free to go after the brief encounter. Only if the person is illegally in the United States may the stop lead to further immigration proceedings. In short, given this court's precedents, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of success both on standing and Fourth Amendment grounds. To conclude otherwise, this court would likely have to overrule or significantly narrow two separate lines of precedence. So it is in this case, particularly given the millions of individuals illegally in the United States, the myriad significant economic and social problems caused by illegal immigration. Government's efforts to prioritize stricter enforcement of the immigration laws enacted by Congress. Notably, moreover, the district court's injunction threatens contempt sanctions against immigration officers who make brief investigative stops later found by the court to violate the injunction. The prospect of such after-the-fact judicial second-guessing and contempt proceedings will inevitably chill lawful immigration enforcement efforts on the two most critical factors. Therefore, the government has demonstrated that a stay is warranted. Turning then to the balance of harms and equities, as with many other applications for interim relief to this court, the harms and equities may appear weighty on both sides. In those circumstances, to borrow Justice Scalia's apt words from a different context, trying to determine whether one party's harms or equities outweigh another party's can be akin to judging whether a particular line is longer than a particular rock is heavy. The judiciary does not set immigration policy or decide enforcement priorities. It should come as no surprise that some administrations may be more laissez-faire in enforcing immigration law, and other administrations more strict. Article 3 judges may have views on which policy approach is better or fairer. But judges are not appointed to make those policy calls. We merely ensure, in justiciable cases, that the executive branch acts within the confines of the Constitution and federal statutes. Consistency and neutrality are hallmarks of good judging, and in my view, we abide by those enduring judicial values in this case by granting the stay. In sum, the government has demonstrated a fair prospect of success on the merits and has met the other factors for an interim stay pending appeal of the district court's injunction. I therefore vote to grant the government's application. Associate Justice Kagan. What lies ahead for residents in the USA? In 2023, a staggering number of illegals entered the USA, joining us in the melting pot of the world were 4,250,000 Mexicans, 2,850,000 Central Americans, 2,100,000 South Americans, 1,150,000 Caribbeans, 1,050,000 Europeans, 1,750,000 Asians, 250,000 Middle Easterners, 475,000 Africans, 375,000 Brazilians, 200,000 Canadians, 350,000 Chinese, 425,000 Colombians, 475,000 Cubans, 275,000 Dominicans, 250,000 Ecuadorians, 850,000 El Salvadorians, 850,000 Guatemalans, 210,000 Haitians, 775,000 Hondurans, 675,000 Indians, 275,000 Nicaraguans, 180,000 Peruvians, 170,000 Filipinos, 220,000 Ukrainians, and 650,000 Venezuelans. The source for these astounding numbers is the Pew Research Center. Estimates based on augmented U.S. Census Bureau data, American Community Survey, 2005 to 2023, IPOMS. With tens of millions of illegals of all races, colors, cultures, and countries of origin blending into American society, the governments are forced to use this disaster as an opportunity with disaster capitalism. Never let a good catastrophe go to waste is the secret governmental motto echoed by the vulture capitalists that feast upon the carcasses of US hegemonies. We the people will not come out on top, we will be capitalized, or decapitated, and the New World Order will become a national security issue for an all-seeing eye that will monitor everyone, everything, everywhere and all the time, 24/7. 365. It will never sleep, never get tired, never get bored or ever become disinterested in you and your activities. That all-seeing eye is nothing more than AI, and all-seeing capital I. AI wants facial recognition, biometrics, license plate readers, artificial intelligence combing databases, US Census. Two words come to mind that could be a major turning point in the United States: birthright citizenship. The only way to enforce the illegality of birthright citizenship will be AI to search the vast records of hospitals, townships, cities, counties, parishes, state, territorial and federal government bodies, clerks and recorders, and on to root out 2 generations born to illegal entrance in the USA, and it will not stop there. If you're what's categorized as an anchor baby, you may want to rethink your life path. One day you could be taken into custody, detained and removed from the USA and lose everything. This is not legal advice. But if I were you, and I am not, I would begin the process of naturalization to become a lawful US citizen, or potentially losing everything, including your family, children, real estate, personal property, money, and more. Welcome to 2025, in which civil rights erode daily. Freedom is just another word for hidden slavery. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are an illusion. Governmental accountability has ceased to exist. Citizen protests are met with tyrannical law enforcement, unlawful arrests, bogus criminal charges, and a larger criminal conspiracy abound within these monstrosities we created called governments. Governments are parasitic, tyrannical, juvenile bullies feasting on the fines, fees, and taxes expressed upon its own authority. We the people. Unfortunately, we the people have been stuck on stupid, believing some politicians are going to save us all from ourselves. Can't get any more stuck on stupid than that. Thank you for spending your time today with us on this very important topic. If you were educated and found value in the information provided in this video, please take the time to like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on important topics and guests. Click the notification bell to be notified when new videos are scheduled and posted. Please leave us a comment on your own experiences, or about this topic, suggestions for guests and topics, or anything else you want to express. Send emails to the Fearless Floyd Show at yahoo.com, or visit the website at thefearlessfloydshow.com. Copyright 2025 Floyd Pleasant, Tarvin IV, all rights reserved.
Thank you for hanging around after the show. I want to present to you Tailor-Made Trust, featuring Ann LaFleur's Trust Series, available at tailormadetrust.com, as well as thefearlessfloydshow.com store. Here are a handful of the available trusts that can be built, custom tailored to your needs and desires. 25 different trusts, plus the DNA Trust Addendum. And as always, Ann LaFleur's classic trusts and ancillary classes, and also Ann's books on trust and specialty trust, which I also co-authored. If you'd like to get a class, a book, or have a trust custom built for you, always available at thefearlessfloydshow.com store.
when your mom cut off your welfare. I was there, holding you down, mama, holding you down. When it left you alone, I was there. Everybody knows I was there. You wanna call me out now? Still loving you like I'm loving the sound. Yes, I'll still be there.
And I'll see you in the next show. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day.